What's up guys, it's Grayson Troy and it's Sunday, so that means free education today. Here's my model Tabitha and I have a really exciting day planned. What I'm going to show you today is actually my full lightening service. It's what I teach in my classes. I'm super excited because not only am I going to be teaching you that, I'm going to be cutting her hair also. Go. I just want to show you guys what we're working with here. If you want to just look down a little bit, you can see she's got a good grow out from the side. You can see the shape of the hair. It's just falling on her. I think our model has some really beautiful features in her face that I think we should just show off a little bit more. Alright, so as I stated earlier, this is my full lightening service, and believe it or not, I do pre-section every one of my clients when I do my full lightening service. Pre-section is because when you're doing a full lightening service, it's a lot of hair. You're going through it all, and sometimes it can become overwhelming. Sometimes you could go through the whole process. Once you get to the top, you're exhausted. The reason I do this is because it really helps you get through the hair, okay? I want to give you guys a really good look at my sectioning so that you guys can understand it. So the first thing I do actually is I come here to the back, right? And I go from behind the ear to the other side of the ear, straight line. You actually want to create a triangle here in the back, and that's always going to differ depending on your client because some people have, larger heads or more hair, thicker hair. But your overall goal is to create a triangle here because this is going to be blonded in here, this is going to be blonded in here, so that when they pull the hair forward, that's where they're going to see a lot of lightness. This triangle back here is going to give you dimension. It's going to be your depth, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to take this entire section in 3 foils and it'll be done really quickly. The whole idea behind this technique is taking triangles, right? Because technically when you are painting hair, you want to do it on triangular sections, so that way you have your surface paint, and then it gets a little heavier towards the mid shaft, and then on the ends it's heavy blonde. Taking all of these triangular sections all around the head, this is going to be your depth. That's what's going to really create it. Once you've done that to both sides, as you can see, I've done the exact same thing, hairline, made that middle triangle past the crown parting ear to ear and then into the back. I like to work, you find the crown, and I like to kind of go right to the top. So if you were to section ear to ear, that is going to be the top of my reverse triangle, and then I bring it all the way down. Last section really is just going to be the mohawk section, and I'm going to leave that out for now, and I'll explain it to you when we get there. It's going to be pretty easy. I'm going to separate the hairline. I'm going to hit that separately, and then I'll show you my hairline, my mohawk technique. So this is going to be my first section right here, and this entire technique is really meant for speed behind the chair. I mean, I do this technique in probably about 2 hours at the salon. The thing you do is you want to detail that hairline for your client. So I like to just kind of go in there and poke it out. Alright guys, I got my Ashley Norman baby light board. I literally can't live without this. You can see the wear and tear that this guy's had here. Probably 4 years old at this point.
So still 15-second clips, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tell me when you're ready.
Yep.
I'm going to paint my board as I always do. I'm going to put the hair right there. I'm sure you're done, right?
Yep.
Okay, so when you're done, like if it's on like a section like this, they get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
yeah. You saw the gist of it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to like try and start and stop.
Yep.
You know? Okay, you ready?
Go.
So now that you've finished baby lighting that, your next section is actually going to be to your second baby light, right? So for her, I can do this in 2 sections. I baby lighted this, and now I gotta baby light this side, because what I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna create a sandwich in the bottom corner. Make sure saturation is key. Keep in mind here, I am doing 10 volume with their cream lightener, which is actually their soft lightener, so it is safe for the hair and it can stay on there for a while because it actually contains a lot of persulfites. So now that I've finished this, I'm actually going to leave this for now, and I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Detail the hairline so that when she puts her hair up, it's seamless. All right, saturated the board, pick up the section, throw it right on. I'm not always worried about getting it so close because I can just drag the hair in. So same thing here. Now that I've done the outside, I'm going to come right on here to the inside, and I'm just going to take a little baby light here, and I'm lucky because of my client, I only have to really do 2. Now keep in mind, this is 10 volume, 1 to 1.5. 1 to 1.5 with the cream lightener from Oligo. So it is gentle, and you know, this is going to be on for a little while, so I do want to get it pretty light, and I am going to be cutting her hair. Now, I'm still going to leave out these sections because we're going to get to that in a second, but I'm going to come in here now and I'm going to baby light the top of this triangle. Saturation is so important. A lot of people are, ask me like, how do I get that much lift? Well, the lift really does come when you saturate correctly. Now we're going to come back and we're going to hit all those sections that we just left out, right? We're going to just do one giant teasy layer right here. Ready? Record me real quick. Go. So basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to tease it up there all the way because this is just going to create a little pocket of depth. The overall idea of this technique is to bring your client very light. I pre-saturated my board. I'm going to lay the hair on the board like that. I'm still using the cream, but now for like a bigger section, I did up the volume. I went to 20 volume, and I'm just going to kind of paint a single point.
So, want me to go?
No, you're okay.
Yeah, when we were home, I had so much time to like play with trying to do videos. Oh my god, I like.
Actually, I liked your like quarantine hair was coming out good on the mannequin.
Well, my freaking mannequins. I was like, can everybody just have mannequin hair? First of all,
See,
I was so shocked at the lift that I got on my mannequins.
Yeah, I was looking at that yellow one you did was pretty awesome.
Oh, how? See, I love Celeb Luxury. Those.
What is that?
They're the that's the yellow. That's what it's shampoo. That's that color.
That was a shampoo?
That's yeah.
Oh wow, that was awesome.
Their Vivid shampoos are bomb, and obviously so easy, like legit just shampoo it in the hair.
And it only attaches to
where it's pre-lightened.
Oh wow.
It's
that's almost better than actually giving somebody hair. You could just shampoo the different things, and then not only that, you got to sell them the shampoo.
And I got an affiliate code with them during quarantine, and they were giving like 35% commission, and I sold a lot. Like, because everybody was like, oh, we're home, we could try different colors. Like, I did my hair pink, so everybody's like, oh my god, I want my hair pink.
That's interesting.
So
how long does it last?
What do you mean?
How long does it last?
Oh, so like the pastel pink came out in like 5 washes, I would say.
That's
like
awesome.
totally
Like
back
completely
to my
out?
blondes. Yeah, cool. I did a post on that too, like of the fade out.
I'm gonna have to. We're gonna talk about more. Of
I
that.
love Select Luxury.
It's cool. Ready? Second, really quick, are you in the camera?
Oh, yep, yes I am.
It's okay. Ready? All right, guys, I finished that one real quick. Let's come on over here now. Just gonna give this a good tease. You can see I'm pushing that up there because I want to go pretty high with it. Pre-lighten the board, throw it on. Make sure that saturation is correct. Do a single point. keep in mind, right? Everything is being pulled away. So now, the reason that I came and I highlighted this middle one is because you always work from the top down because you don't want to leave any hair out, right? So basically, I flip up the highlight. Then you come in and you take a single slice right under, incorporating the highlight that you just had, and you're going to come in and you're going to give this a pretty good tease. Saturate the board because this is going to be where we start painting our first V. And V's are going to actually be your depth. So what I like to do is when I establish a V is I want to see where I want that depth. If I want a little bit of depth at the root, I'm going to go very close. If I want a little bit more, I'm going to make my V deeper. Like that. One of the most important things when doing a V is always remember to try and make this a point in the middle. Points are much easier to break up than, let's say, a harsh line. All right, so you can see I finished, I saturated it really well. I'm gonna put my foil on top because I really don't want to fold at this point. All right guys, so now we're into this third section, right? I told you, 3 sections, we were gonna do 3 foils in this one section. Now we've done the top, which is the baby light, so that's that surface paint. We've gone a little bit heavier in here, but created a little bit of dimension, and now we're gonna just kind of tip out these ends. What I'm gonna do is I'm just going to kind of come lower and I'm going to start teasing. I'm going to get that tease all the way up there because, again, I'm really just going to try and focus on this area. All right, guys, so I've saturated my board. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to kind of get these bottoms here. And then I'm just going to kind of create a little V here at the bottom. I'm done with the under the nape. Here, the entire back of that area is done. So now what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna move to the left, okay? I'm gonna start here in the hairline. I'm gonna take this section, take that section, then I'm gonna go right back over here and I'm gonna start the exact same thing. So I'm gonna come over here, here, here. I'll work on this middle triangle. I'll hit the hairline on top and then we'll be done. It's gonna be that simple and I can't wait to show you guys my hairline technique. I really have come, it took me a while to do it and to kind of come up with it. I really think it's great because I don't know about you, but so many clients have a hairline just like this. I mean, I don't know about you, but the majority of people have this, right? And how do you get this? I mean, do you come in here and you take little highlights that way? I mean, I find that it could leave bigger holes of darkness, or natural hair. And I personally, like, I don't know if you've seen my videos, but I like when we can flip the hair left and right and you can really see the detail around the hairline. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna come in first and I'm actually gonna take a top section right in here. But I'm gonna take these little baby hairs right out of the way because there's no reason to get those. There's no reason to even try and highlight those. So now this is looking more like what I'm gonna take right here. And I'm not even afraid of it being a little bit like wider or deeper because what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of highlight that entire thing. Tilt your head this way a little bit. So that's gonna be my section here. So I'm gonna just come in. And now this is gonna be my first foil in the hairline. Okay. So I like to just kind of put that right onto the board. I'm using the 10 volume in the hairline here, 1 to 1.5. So it's really, you know, it's actually a little bit probably less than a pure 10 volume because, you know, we added the extra volume in there, the extra developer. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of fold this up. This is my, every time I do a hairline, I try and personalize it to the client, and this is definitely one of my key techniques that I use every time. Because then, now what I'm gonna do is, right, look, I've got this whole area here, so if she pulls her hair back, doesn't matter. She's gonna have beautiful, flowing baby lights going that way, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here, 2 more foils, right? I'm gonna come in here, so look at her sideburn, right? She doesn't really have one, and that's beautiful. So I'm gonna come in here, and I'm gonna just take this little sideburn that she does have, And I'm going to highlight this guy right there. Just like that. There we go. Are we on?
Yep.
I'm gonna throw it right back onto the board to get that 10 volume in there. Sure it's saturated, come in. So for this one I'm going to try and lock it in because I don't want it to slip. And then what I'm going to do is the next detailed foil is real simple, right? You're just going to kind of come in here and take this, and what you're actually doing now is you're going to connect this lightning, this first highlight you did, with that line right there. But instead of highlighting down, right, like you almost want to drop the leave out. So like, look, when I push down, that's going to be the one that I keep. So I'm highlighting it the opposite way, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take what I highlighted and I'm actually going to flip it up because I want it to go into here, into my next section. And again, I'm going to hit that with 10 volume. All right, guys. I'm just going to apply that right here, and I'm going to show you how quickly we're going to get this done, right? Because it looks like we have a lot of hair left, but really what I'm going to do is the next section is going to be just pure dimension, right? We're going to add that. We're going to add the depth behind the blonde. So now that what we have here, we've created like an outline, right? We've outlined it here. We've double outlined it here. So our next technique could be, you could hit it a little bit more here, and I think we're going to. I'm just going to take a small section like that. Come in here. I'm going to have to stand over here and do this. Just get a little tease in there.
That's the only thing, that's a heavy comb. And sometimes it doesn't, you know, for thin hair like that.
Oh, I know.
It's like weighing it down. Go.
So the comb's a little heavy, but it seems to be working for right now. And I'm just going to kind of reinforce this as much as I can. Just trying to get a little depth there. I teased it just so that there would be some natural area in the root. Take the comb out. Just make sure your saturation is good. Again, this is just going to really reinforce that there's lightness behind that highlight and not too much depth. So you don't always have to do this, but if you feel like there might be, you know, just, it might be a little too dark in that area, this is always a good technique to throw in there also. This is one foil more than I promised you for this area, so don't hold that against me. Because the next section is literally, if you didn't do this foil, you would just take that whole thing over direct forward like you're doing round graduation, because round graduation creates softness. So you want to paint coming this way, right? Because when it falls, you're going to see that transition. So I'm going to over direct. Tease it in. I'm going to stick it in, and then I'm going to apply my 20 volume to her hair here because it's obviously a little bit of a thicker section, and don't forget I am going with, you know, a softer developer, if you would. So if you want, we could actually talk a little bit of lightening, because bleaches, let's say, like what makes a bleach more powerful is actually the amount of persulfate that's inside of the, you know, the bleach. I mean, the more prosulfites it has, the longer and more powerful it is. So let's just put it like this, right? Like this might be a softer cream lightener, but if it has more prosulfates, you know, it has the ability to go longer, because what happens is the prosulfates die over time. So like I think most bleaches have like 2, I think it is, prosulfates. So like you'll get that initial oxidation, and then all of a sudden you'll have like, you know, where they say the bleach dies off like after a little while. The more prosulfates inside of it, the longer it lasts. It kind of like kicks up as one falls, the other one kind of jumps into action. So like, even though this technically is a softer lightener, it'll last double the time. All right, so we are done with the hairline now, and I am going to start this next triangle. And now keep in mind, right? This is going to be the first, I mean, look at the size of that section. It's pretty big. She's got a good amount of hair, and you know, I'm gonna try and hit this in 3 foils. 4 foils, sorry, because I'm actually gonna connect the hairline here. So I'm gonna do a little hairline connection first to start off with. So I'm just going to kind of continue the same thing I was doing, and I'm going to baby down because I want the section, I want everything to be together in this. So there we go. This is going to go up into my next section instead of down and left out. I'm just going to go ahead now and just kind of connect that baby lighting, because now you'll have baby lighting all around the hairline, which I'm going to show you what I'm going to do when I go to tone it, because I am going to be using permanent color to tone, creating more of a demi-permanent, and how to do that. Bam. We're onto this triangle, and like I said, I'm going to get this done in 3 foils, believe it or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to baby light the top, and we're not going to change that pattern that we've been doing. Just like that. I am upping my developers now. I am using 20 volume and 25 volume. Still going actually with the cream lightener, because I checked her back foils and they're lifting really well. So I figured I would just stick with that just to maintain the health of her hair. I'm doing 20 volume on her natural. I'm going to kick it down to 10 volume down on her blonde, because we do want to push that. So I'm going to flip this up. Well, first I'm going to flip this there so I don't cross-contaminate. I'm going to throw that there. Flip it up, and now I'm going to do exactly what I did in that triangle in the back. I'm going to take a little bit thicker of a section. I'm going to like over direct it a little bit towards her face. Start that tease down a little bit, and I'm really going to kind of pack it in there. Get that comb to stick in, and now you can see that I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just give it a little V. I'm going to do this with 25 volume. Again, focusing the 25 volume on her natural. You can see the amount of depth I'm leaving in there, so she's going to have that depth that's still in there, even though she's going to look very blonde. For sections like this, I always like to layer the foils. Remember, when it comes to foils, you don't want to overfold. You do want that, and you don't want to be too tight on them because you need that air in there. I'm going to flip up, and then I'm going to take this entire section right here, and I'm going to do a tip out, right? We're going to focus on just brightening this up. I like her natural. We are going to go in and shadow it, so I'm just going to kind of over direct. I'm going to start lower. Take that back. The only difference is instead of doing just the bottom like I did in the back, I'm going to go a little bit higher here. But you can see the difference in the size of the tees and the section.
Your dad called.
This is going to be that third section, and I'm really going to saturate it now. I am using the 25 just because of the thickness of the section. So, as promised, 4 foils, that entire side of the head is done now. You've got your depth and your bright ends. You've got your saturation in the middle here, and you've got your surface painting. So just imagine you were balayaging, right? Now we're gonna move over here to this little triangle over here, this reverse triangle. So I kind of created this because I was watching somebody on Instagram and I saw somebody painting, I think it was like upside down diamonds, and kind of figured out how can I do that in foil work. So basically this is real simple. I don't want to waste a lot of time here. I don't think you do either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to baby light. You could either baby light this or you could zigzag it. I mean, doesn't really matter. We could zigzag it for right now. So you can see the zigzag pattern. When you zigzag, I like to tease. Kind of get that in there. I'm going to go 20 volume on this. Bring it right there. And then what you're going to do is you're actually going to go and outline the exact same thing you just did on the opposite side of the triangle. So I'm going to flip this up. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to do the exact same thing here. So let's see if I could do it from this angle. That was a little rough from that side, but actually pretty good. So then I'm going to just do the exact same thing. I'm going to come in and I'm going to just tease it down. Let's see if I can get my comb. I'm going to do 20 volume here. And now my next step is the only time you really, well, I guess that's not true, but during the whole process, this is going to be the messiest part up until the end when we pull all the foils. But the reason I do it this way is because of saturation. And I'm telling you right now, I've done classes where the client has had hair down to her ass and literally super thick, right? And I still do this technique and people are always saying it's not going to work, it's not going to work, and it does. So like I'm just going to show you exactly what we're going to do on the next section. Okay, so now you're probably thinking like, how is he going to get that entire section done with just 3 foils, right? So look, I'm going to throw that up here. And I'm going to take this entire section, which you could see how there's those rivets right there. I'm going to take this, comb it through. I'm going to give it a good tease. Nothing too crazy, not too low, because I still want to maintain, you know, making this very blonde, but I also want to kind of make sure that I get that dimension out of there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 25 volume and I'm going to use my open palm and I'm just going to just smash it in there, because this is where you could fuck up. Oop, probably, I don't know if I could say that, but I did. And this is where you can really make mistakes, right? Because if you were to do a giant section like this and not make sure that you're saturated, so if I were to just put this on a board or a foil, like you're probably gonna miss all of this in between. So like I like to just kind of open it up, get it in there. I'll blend it up. I actually throw it right up into the tees. I'm not afraid of that at all. This is pretty much what I do right there. And now I'll come back in here, I'll come back, I'll even check underneath. So you can see, right? Like that's pretty saturated in there. But then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to throw this in a foil. What, you could pause it. I gotta wash my hands. That's saturated. I'm going to go back and I'm going to make sure even more, because I do want this to sit in a foil, because I do want the heat from the foil, but I'm going to make sure that this is really saturated now. So that's that section right there. So now what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm actually going to not record the other side. I'm going to go live with it. So that's what I'm going to do after this for the exact same thing on the other side. So we have literally now just completed the entire side and back. Her hair is lifting so well. I mean, I've already combined some sections. We did go live, which was great on the right side. I ended it in order for you guys to see exactly how I'm going to attempt to do the back of her head here. So with this model in particular, I do want to leave some dimension. I don't want it to look like such a solid blonde. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to kind of skip this area, right? I mean, like, to me, this area, it could, you know, don't waste too much time here, right? So what I'm going to do, the only thing I would say is look for cowlicks. So see the cowlick right there? That tells us we have to hit at least starting here. You know what I mean? So let's make sure we do that. Check for cowlicks. We saw one. Let's hit it here. Let's, you know, take as much as we can. And then what I like to do is I like to go in with baby lights first and then come backtrack and do teasy lights. I just find it to be quicker than going in between. So, but I'm going to take care of this section all in one. So I'm going to just come in here and baby light it. And I think the real secret to everything is just take smaller sections once you kind of get to the mohawk section. Like, don't speed it up because you're tired. I mean, I know I've done that a million times, you know, and I get it. Trust me, like, you're at the end of the day or whatever, and like somebody comes in, you just foiled the whole back and the sides. But this technique should help you speed up the back and the sides. I mean, I'm not really sure how long it's been already, but I mean, I'm talking and trying to teach, so Dad just doesn't get it. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of continue the same pattern we've been doing. And now I'll make sure that I hit. I'm actually going to leave a little less dimension here at the top, though, because I do want her to be pretty blonde. I want this to, I don't want it to be solid, but I want it to be blonde. See, I went a lot higher with that triangle than I was on the inside. Just gonna kind of create that much more dimension at the top right there. It did just get hot in here, I feel like.
I think the air just took so long.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to almost continue a pattern like this, but in much smaller sections, kind of going up the head. All right, guys, so now that we're kind of going to begin that pattern that we're going to be using, I'm going to switch it up. So I'm going to be using the air brush, air touch, whatever you want to call it, technique, to just kind of get rid of some of those loose hairs. I just think it gives a really, really good blend. And so since we're going to be combining all the sections anyway, I think this is a good one to go with. I've been hearing a lot of people say that they don't have that time to do that, but realistically, the time you spend doing it is going to be the time you save undoing it. Like, if that makes sense. Like, if you were doing a tease there or whatever throughout all this, like, granted I'm going to be doing both, you know, if you were to just really switch up and do the air touch or whatever it's called, it would definitely speed up at the end of the day in the sink. So look, now I'm going to take this, pull it out, got it. I'm going to still do my second one here, right, which I could technically still air touch if I wanted to, but I think I'm just going to go with the tease here. Because I'm not going for easiness, I'm just going for blend, and I do think that the air touch does have a nice blend to it. It like softens it a lot more than I think a Babylight does. So again, you know, I'm going to kind of create my dimension right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave these and I'm going to split them and I'm going to come back to them. So now let's kind of speed it up a little bit. And now that we know the pattern I'm going with, and the pattern can always be different. The pattern could, you know, you could do Babylight, leave out Babylight, teasy light, like it's really up to you. There's so many different patterns that you could come up with, but right now we're just going to do these three, right, where it's Babylight. Well, I guess it's not Babylight actually. It's airbrush light. I don't know. So the one thing though I gotta say about when you do the air touch, you gotta be really careful because these can be bleeders, and that's definitely not what you're looking for, and definitely not what your client's probably looking for. Luckily though, if you're doing a nice shadow, or you know, you could probably save it, but so I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to alternate it up. So I'm going to do maybe one air dry or air brush. I'm really struggling with that name. and then maybe just one baby leg. How you doing? Okay. Model.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to. I was like, I don't know who he's asking.
No, you're good. There we go. Now as I get to the top of the head, I'm actually going to make these sections even a little smaller now. Keep in mind, I really do like to take sections that are almost from parietal ridge to parietal ridge. It definitely gets a little tough when it comes to obviously the corners of foiling them, but I would prefer to have that ability for somebody to be able to flip their hair. I like that. So as you can see, right, like I'm gonna get the majority of it, and it's okay if it doesn't connect 100% on the sides, because we're gonna be melting this entire thing anyway. So like, what is that, like not even half an inch isn't near the end. So, and once you take it off the board, you could even really, if you want, bend the foil to the head, but I don't really like to do that, but you can. So like if you really want to be a stickler, you can just hold it and kind of bend it in and then come over here and just push it down, and you'll get those corners. But again, it doesn't matter because you're going to be melting those anyway. This is why I don't really like to do that, because when you go to flip it now, when you've bent it, it slides out anyway. So what you got to do is you got to kind of do something like that, and then it's a little better, but I don't think it's 100% needed. It's going to be the last section on the top, and then maybe we'll just go live with the rest of me doing the back.